What's up, GameLeapers? It's Coach Cheese, and if you guys asked any of these questions or had any of these thoughts so far this season, how do I win when my team feeds? I win lane, but I lose game. Jungle diff. This game is in such a bad state right now. Well, guess what? I'm going to save each and every one of you in the next 10 minutes because we are going to be analyzing a 1v9 solo carry from Fnatic Bwipo, and the lessons in this are absolutely huge and essential. Like, you have to have these techniques under your belt if you're to climb to the top of the ranks this season. Now, I want you to tell me your hardest carry so far in Season 11, guys. Did you drop 20 kills? Were you 50 CS up at 10 minutes? Did you have 100% kill participation? Tell me about it in the comments. Now, while you're doing that, I'm going to tell you to check out the Red Hot GameLeap website. If you want daily VODs from the Cheese and exclusive access to Challenger tier content that is helping thousands climb and achieve their goals in Season 11, then click on one of the links in the description or comment section and get signed up. Right, so how does Bwipo 1v9? Well, the first thing you shouldn't do on any champion you're playing is skill and ability before you see your opponent. I'm sure we've all done it, right? We load into a game and as soon as it starts, we auto skill whatever ability is usually best for our level 1, forgetting that not every game is the same. Now, I know I'm alienating you as ear mains with this tip, just like Radar with each new patch, but it is important. So if we look at this situation, Bwipo hasn't skilled anything in case something like this happens, where the Viego face checks him, and for Darius in particular, your W is more useful in these fight till the death level 1 scenarios. Now, by just applying this simple trick, Bwipo gets first blood in a challenger game and uses this lead he has to impress his power and will on the rest of the Rift and carry. And he does this just 10 seconds later. Now, this is an extremely rare situation because the red team have late invaded blue side's bottom side jungle, and Bwipo isn't actually in top lane when the first wave collides. As a result, he can afford to TP to this ward in the red buff brush and unleash the beast. So staying flexible in any game of League, guys, is extremely important because you never know what might happen. So opening our scope of vision to the whole map instead of just our lane can give us more opportunities to positively impact games. Now, I said that word afford earlier for a reason, guys, when Bwipo TPs to that red buff ward. If you can afford to do something, it means you're not giving up too much in return. So let's think about this. What is Bwipo giving up by TPing to the other side of the map? He's giving up experience. So Viego is going to have an XP lead when Bwipo returns to the top side of the map. And this could be significant if Bwipo's team wasn't to secure a couple of kills, but they do. So in the big picture of the Rift, this is well worth it. But you have to make sure when you go for a TP or a roam or a play away from your lane, guys, that there is a high chance that play works out. Otherwise, it's a complete waste of time and you're going to miss out on a bunch of golden experience. So stay flexible, open up that perspective, and you will win more. Now, another tip that will help you win more, and this is just a quickie, even though Viego has a level advantage here, and again, this applies to any champion, any role, what's the other big factor to take into account in this trade? Because it's not just Darius damaging Viego, it's the minions as well, that's right. So fighting with your hooded and armored friends, guys, is a much more reliable way to trade than fighting without them. And I'm sure we've all done it and will continue to do it, where we headbutt the enemy champion in a pretty big creep wave, and the enemy minions do more damage to our HP bar than the enemy champion themselves. So always consider the minions during a trade, and try to fight as much as you can closer to your creeps. The further away you are like this Viego, the more dangerous it becomes, even if you have a level advantage. Now, another quickie here, guys, that will help you out immensely in terms of racking up more kills and carrying. As this trade comes to a bit of a close, why do you think Bwipo pursues the Viego? Is it because he likes the look of that gold sword? Or the 3 hemorrhage stacks Viego has copped? Well, that might actually be a minor reason why, but the real reason is because Bwipo is about to hit level 2 off this melee minion to the right of him. And when he does, his kill pressure goes from, yeah, maybe, to, oh my god, he's got it in the bag. So that's the first pointer, to pay close attention to your experience bar throughout the laning phase, because power spikes don't just relate to items. Some champions, when they hit level 2, become really strong, some champions are level 3, some champions level 6, and so on. And it is especially important in a game like this to pay attention to your XP bar, because the start of it was a bit of a cluster, you know what. And then the finishing touch, guys, is to position yourself accordingly. So can you see when Bwipo hits level 2, he's on Viego's side of the wave? He's not under his tower or chilling next to his range minions. He is in a position to hunt Viego down and kill him when he hits level 2. And the great thing about this XP positioning, let's call it, is that players right up until Master Plus won't be aware of you hitting level 2 or whatever level it is, so will be in range of your kill threat and die. But again, you can't kill an enemy champion, guys, when you are half a lane away from them. So your XP positioning, if you can improve on this, you will notice a massive difference in your gameplay and win a heck of a lot more. So the lane continues, guys, and Bwipo has a significant health advantage, and he's going to reapply the XP positioning tip we just talked about. Look in the bottom left real quick. He hasn't skilled his E yet, so he doesn't have his pull available. But as soon as he kills this melee minion, he hits level 3, skills his apprehend, and is mightily close to pulling Viego into him and sending him back to base. But this opportunity does not exist if Bwipo was just chilling and AFK farming in the lane. It happens, it's there, it's real because he's paying attention to his XP and positioning according to that power spike. Now junglers will know what I mean by this, and maybe some of you laners will too, but how many of you when you do go to gank a lane waste your time because your laner makes it way too obvious you're about to gank? So I'm going to pause it here and I want you to look at the minimap. Talia is 2 seconds away from throwing a few rocks at Viego, but there is a chance this gank doesn't work out if Bwipo gives it away. So your goal here, guys, is to conceal your teammate's intention. If Bwipo was to run towards Viego after using his Q and E, and you can see this on cooldown, what do you think Viego is going to think? Wow, this guy's keen and stupid, or he knows that something else has to be happening here because you would very rarely run up with 2 of your skills on cooldown and look to fight. So what does Bwipo do to optimize this gank? He runs back for a second or two, that's it, and this baits Viego into doing the same, so he's deeper in the lane, and therefore further away from safety, in other words his turret. So you see this big rock, guys, to the right of Viego. I'm going to draw a line from the top left of this rock to the front of the last brush on the top of your screen. If you can induce the enemy laner to walk beyond this line, and it's the same for the other side too, then your chances of taking down your opponent with your jungler are a lot higher. If they are behind this line, well, let's call that the safety zone. While they are behind that line, their chances of survival are high. And this is why Bwipo tries to drag the Viego out by walking backwards, succeeds in doing so, and all he does during this gank is W. That's it, because Viego's position in this lane is so far away from safety and there's no way he escapes. So by dictating your enemy's positioning, guys, as that gank is about to come in is a must-know technique if you're to climb to high elo. Now when you kill your opponent, do you want to extend that lead you have or just take the kill and that's it? You want to get more out of it, right? Well, I hope so at least. So Bwipo decides to shove this wave because Viego doesn't have TP, meaning that the Ruined King is going to miss some of these minions. So the point here is that it's never just about kills and deaths. It's about resources, and shoving the wave after you get a kill is one way of maximizing your golden experience and minimizing the enemies. Now just a quick tip here, when you're actually shoving the wave, guys, if you have an AoE ability like a Luxie or Diana Q or Sivir Q or Cho'Gath Q, you will always shove that wave quicker when you hit more minions. And this will get your wave into the enemy tower faster, meaning the opponent misses out on more CS. In fact, watch your latest game back for me, and even if you're a support you can do this. When you wanted to shove a wave, did you do it as efficiently as you could? Did you use your skills on as many minions as possible, or did you waste them on only a couple of minions? You'll be surprised at how big a difference this makes, guys, so do it in your games. The best in the world don't do it for the fun of it, they do it because it is optimal. Now as we watch Viego run it down with a Fatal Flash W combo, if you do enjoy these analysis videos, guys, then let the Cheese and Co know by smashing that like button, and so you don't miss any of our uploads, make sure to hit the sub button and the bell as well. Now this fight we are about to witness, I said earlier that minions are an important factor to consider when you're trading with the enemy champion, correct? Well, this picture, it looks as if Bwipo's minions will do more when these two fight each other, but it's more about where you fight in relation to the minions. So as Bwipo goes toe to toe with the Viego here, look at where he is fighting him, closer to Viego's minions, right? So even though Bwipo has the larger wave, it's barely playing any part in this fight. And this red cannon minion right here cannonballs Bwipo for a good 10 seconds and almost costs him this fight. So yes, Bwipo has a lead in terms of items, so if every other condition in the lane was equal, he wins 100% of the time. But these minions during this trade are not equal, they are not even, they are lopsided in favor of Viego and make this fight a lot closer than what it probably should be. So in your games, guys, think about where you are trading in relation to the minion waves. Sometimes even when you do have the push or the enemy has to push, your minion advantage means nothing if you push well past that collision point towards the enemy side of the lane. So do be careful. Now I have said this tip multiple times in recent videos, guys, and do you know why? It's one of the most important to get down pat in the laning phase. If you don't do it, you will lose golden experience, more lanes, and more games. So when Bwipo decides to go for a jog down the river here to try catch out the Viego with Talia, what is happening with the minions in the top lane? And this tip goes for any lane, by the way. Well, this wave is frozen, meaning that if Darius was to just last hit the CS, the minion waves would be locked here indefinitely until Viego or Darius pushed it. Now a freeze is one lane state that you can roam off, because you're not going to bleed golden experience when you move elsewhere on the map. The other time roaming is straight up validated is when do you think? When the wave is shoved, that's it. So your minions are underneath the enemy tower. In both cases, so freezing or shoving, you are minimizing your losses. You do not want to be giving up more than you gain. So let's say this enemy cannon wave pushed under Bwipo's tower before he returns to lane. Maybe he misses out on the cannon and a few other minions. And what did he get in return? Nothing. But because the lane is frozen, guys, he knows that the enemy minion waves aren't going anywhere. He may miss a couple of minions, but Viego misses way more. I mean, if you just look at where this lane is now and keep in mind Viego is miles behind in terms of gold and items, would you want to go near Darius? So it's no surprise he roams mid and actually ends up dying here, and this is why Bwipo ends the freeze and hard pushes. And hopefully you noticed how Bwipo used his Q on as many minions as possible to shove it faster. So if you want to move from your lane, guys, freeze or shove. And yes, there are going to be some scenarios where the fight is in such close proximity to your lane you would roam regardless of the lane state, but it's a great habit to get into. Sort your lane out first, then play the map. And everything we've talked about so far, guys, has led to this right here. A 2-level lead for Bwipo and over double the CS of Viego. And yes, giving a shutdown to your opponent like this, well, it's probably not worth, but it shows how powerful and significant the intricate techniques and details that we've talked about on the Rift are. Now, if you're thinking, well, I have leads like this in my games, what's the big deal? Well, the difference between Bwipo and the best laners in the world to everyone else is their ability to convert their leads into wins. So if you look at the scoreboard here, Darius is the only one with a lead. Everyone else on Bwipo's team is running it. Well, not quite running it, but yeah, they're not doing great. So how does he put his team on his back and hard carry? Well, we still need to be thinking about golden experience, guys, and one cheeky play you guys can make in your games is to farm nearby jungle camps on your way to lane. This is such a simple tip for sure, but don't farm the jungle camp like Krugs in this case if you're going to miss a bunch of minions. The wave is far more important. So as you can see, Bwipo gets Krugs and this entire wave. Very efficient. Now another tip every single one of you on the Rift needs to know and apply is this one right here. Can you see anyone of the enemy team on the minimap? It's like they've all got their invisibility cloaks on. So the reason you can't see any enemy champion, guys, is because they're in fog. And what does Karzik say? The unseen threat is the deadliest. And the cockroach has a fair point. An attack from out of nowhere is a lot harder to anticipate and avoid. So you have to respect the fog, guys, and more importantly, count the enemy team. And this is going to help you out so much. If I rewind it slightly and pause it here, I want you to tell me who you can see on the enemy team. Lucian is top, good, while Viego, Alistair, and Kai'Sa are mid. So the enemy jungler, who is Nidalee, is in fog. We don't know where she is, but we can safely assume she will be also near the mid lane because her bot lane is her team's biggest win condition, so wherever they go, she goes. So as we watch this play out, and all of a sudden Viego, Alistair, and Kai'Sa move into the bottom side river, we can anticipate them all running towards Bwipo here to try and take him down. And because Bwipo is counting the enemy team and respecting the fog, he backs off and doesn't give away golden experience for dying for no reason. And watch what transpires here. Count the enemy team for me now. Kai'Sa is now in the bot lane picking up the wave Bwipo just shoved, meaning that the enemy team have one less player in fog, so we don't have to respect it as much. And knowing this, Bwipo ventures towards the fog and his team and makes a play. Now guys, before this fight takes place, I want to point something out to you here that is one of the biggest differences between high elo and low elo. Look at the map for me and take a look at the blue team's pings. You've got Bwipo and Taliyah pinging on my way, you've got an enemy missing ping from someone to alert the others that an enemy might be lurking, and this communication matters because it coordinates a team. And as we've already established, the Rift is a 5v5. It's not just about shoving your lane, getting 3 towers and an inhib, it's about reacting to the map and the information given to you, which is why Annie eventually secures the kill on Viego, and Bwipo and Tristana chase the Nidalee and end up killing her as well. So it might not have seemed like much, you know, Bwipo shoving the bot lane wave and backing off, but it was. And as soon as Kai'Sa shows the numbers count has changed enough for you to be aggressive and to almost disrespect the fog. So knowing this, guys, is very important. Now this last tip, you guys are going to love it, trust me. I want you to build a Sterex Gauge and Gargoyle Stoneplate on whatever champion you're playing. Look how busted this is. No, but seriously, in this fight, Bwipo picks up a triple kill, and yes, being this farmed on Darius has something to do with it, but he doesn't go in a non-stop headbutt after he TPs. He engages onto the Alistair for sure and does a bit of damage, but look in the bottom left. All his basic abilities are on cooldown here, so does he want to keep fighting? No, right? That's kind of troll. So he backs off and waits for his cooldowns again and returns to going ham. Even the timing of the unbreakable active from Gargoyles is perfect, and he hard carries this fight, and the enemy team actually end up FFing shortly after. So playing around your cooldowns, guys, and accepting the fact that though you are very fed, you still have your weaknesses. You are not unkillable. So take all of these tips into your games, guys, and you will win lane and the game so much more this season. One last friendly reminder to check out the GameLeap website for the best league content on the web, and there is a reason for that. The Cheese is uploading daily videos, so get around it, links down below. Until tomorrow's video, peace!